Now, this translates into the generations. So this is where those resources are housed. Conversions, it's all about bringing leads into your business. Operations, business operations. Retentions is about past clients. And the experiences, like I said, are kind of interwoven in all of these. Another concept we have is a world-class client experience. And so we can build that in by focusing on all of these, having good systems. And this comes from your 3 decades of being in real estate, helping teach thousands of agents at this point, and my opportunity to kind of study under Mark for the last half dozen years. So I'm going to show you guys real quick what a conversions-based resource looks like. So we need to have resources in our business. We need to make things that we can share with people that are going to help bring them in as leads, but we want to teach them, we want to train them, and we want to make sure that they're good leads, right? And the best way you can do that is help them through the questions that they probably have about the different processes they're going to go through. So this is where resources come into play. So let's say, this is my favorite example. Let's say we want to build a lead magnet. And now a lead magnet is the thing that you put out into the world, usually housed on your website, and it draws in, like a magnet, new leads, right? Now from here, you start sending people to it by pointing ads or just sharing about it in posts. And this is something that we do in our business as well. But a lead magnet can come in lots of different forms. So maybe we have a lead magnet guide. It's a guidebook that a person can have, and then you're going to see that it's going to select some team member details. Now, I've got lots of team members in my account, and so I can make sure that I have the right one. Each of my team members might have a different focus in real estate, or maybe you have several focuses in real estate. We call these your niches. But for this specific lead magnet, I'm going to keep it as a first-time home buyer. Now, under that is member voice, which is your tone or how it sounds when you're writing, your writing style. And you can see I've got lots of them there. You can click in and maybe you remove some. Maybe you want to add something to make it a little bit different. And then at the very bottom, you have the objective. This is what I say is, what is the overall goal that you have for the person who's reading this? So at the end of this, Sam's kind of pre-filled this to help you out. They have engaged with the guide's content to convert a potential customer into a client by learning about the tips, tricks, and traps of the first-time home buying process.
Now, I love this. For the past several months, ChatGPT has been the talk of the town. And a lot of people will go out there and give you their recommendation or advice on how to use ChatGPT. And a majority of the time, it's a matter of make sure you know who you're talking about, what your voice is, all these different things, and you've actually put it all into one system and individual fields, so they don't have to copy and paste those questions and reply to those answers, with answers to each one of those. You've put everything all in the process itself, so it makes it a lot easier. Plus, you've let it create some of the answers, so you don't even have to think about it. This is great.
Yeah. So a little bit of history. When ChatGPT first became publicly available, you and I got super excited and we started learning about it, using it, figuring it out. And at about the 4-month mark, we were like, okay, I think we have a good enough grasp. Let's start sharing about it. And we were helping teach real estate agents because that's who we like to help, you guys. And at the end of these events, you're teaching, you're sharing, and these statements that you make to these AI systems, the LLMs, large language models, are called prompts. And you either at the end of these have people who are really excited to use these systems and then have no clue how to write these prompts, or they're just so overwhelmed and inundated, they need you to write the prompts for them. And so I realized this pretty quickly, and I was like, well, man, I could spend the rest of my life writing these prompts for people and making prompt guidebooks, or considering myself like an AI consultant. And there's lots of people who do that, but it's back to the old adage, teaching a man to fish or buying him a power boat, right? And so I decided to invest in some horsepower. And so that's where Sam came from, and that's what you guys, if you were to pick up a free trial today, would be able to use it for, is creating those resources, putting them onto your website, driving leads to you. And then I'm going to show you how this 2.0 changes it in just a second. But after we've filled in what we're wanting to do for this resource, Sam's going to come back with what I consider the tuning fork. These are the refining questions. And just like that objective where it pre-fills in what you might have answered it as, Sam's going to do the same thing in these. So what you want to do is you want to go through each of these questions and read through them. Make sure it's a good question first off. Read through the answer it has. Maybe we just completely rewrite the answer. I encourage people, never assume that it's got it spot on for the first time. And so then after we've gone through, we've read each of the questions, we've rewritten these answers, maybe there's a couple questions that you're like, that's just not helpful for this specific resource. You as the real estate agent are the expert. You're in the driver's seat, and I want to keep you in the driver's seat. Even though we're using AI, it's not AI's job to be in the driver's seat, it's yours. And so I have a thumbs up, thumbs down. If, say, one of these questions just doesn't make sense to have, just thumbs it down. What that does is Sam is no longer going to look at that question answer to help inform what it's making. So once you've gone through all of that, you can hit continue. Now, Sam's going to think about all the questions, all the answers. It's going to think about what we're looking to create, and it's going to start to create this resource for us. Now, this does take the longest, but it's pretty quick, right? It just boom. And now we have a first draft for a resource. And so we have a good place to start that is going to give us that first idea of, okay, this is the resource. Now, there are a couple things that you can do from here. Either A, maybe it missed the mark, we need to regenerate, and that just means that it's going to try again, right? And then you're going to be able to see all of those. If you click refine, you can tell it exactly what you're wanting to shift. So maybe the resource that you created doesn't have the traps part of the tips, tricks, and traps. And so you want it to also include traps. Well, you can tell it specifically that. You can also expand. So these are considered to be outlines. And maybe we want to expand specific sections by those headlines, subheadlines, or maybe we just want to expand all of the content, see how big we can actually get it. Once we've kind of got the initial piece, that's where we go in and we start editing. We start infusing these resources with our understanding, our knowledge, and really making it our resource that we can put out into the world. Now, I like to say the better the resource, the better the value that you can give them, the more informed they're going to be. And that means that, A, you've already established yourself as the expert, so that when they are trying to think about who they want to work with, well, they've already learned from you. So why wouldn't they? You've already solved one of their problems. So this is a really great way for you to engage in what's called reciprocity, the relationship building. You're giving them something of value. You're helping them learn about this process. And oftentimes they're searching up these answers. This is the new real estate buyer, is someone who's not afraid to go onto a search engine and learn.
They're informed. At this point in technology, they're out there, they know what they're looking for, but sometimes they don't know the process, and this helps them with process. Help them understand better. And every process is different whenever you're starting to look at processes from California versus those in Missouri, whatever. If the person is moving out of state, there's just a lot of questions. First-time home buyers have all the questions. They have never been through it. They don't know what they're doing. So making sure you've informed them on what to do is important. Everybody knows this, but this helps you personalize it and create it in your content.
Exactly. And first-time home buyer, this is why I love this the specific niche because it's such a good one. We all have probably dealt with first-time home buyers, and you probably have a list of questions that they're already going to ask. So what if we sat down and we worked with Sam? We made maybe 3 to 5 resources, one for each of those questions. Now, maybe we don't throw all of them at them at once, but as they ask the question, we give them the resource. Now they can start to do the research themselves, and we're providing them with solutions. So from there, all you can do, or all you have to do, is either copy it. A lot of CRMs, a lot of databases, a lot of places can take HTML source code. It's just like the spaghetti on the back of the software, and so you can either grab it in that regard, or you can just copy it. And that's what text body is. It just copies it. You can go into like a Word document or a Google Docs, paste it, save it as a PDF. But then also you want to make sure and save it into SAM. And then I'll show you exactly why in just a second. So once you've saved it, once you've got it where you want it, you go back. It takes you to the beginning of the resource. So you can generate a couple resources. But then maybe we want to come back to that resource. Well, we go to the saved generations, and you can see August the 2nd at 9:43. This is the one we just built. Well, we can reload it so we can go back into it. Maybe we realize we needed to add a section or we need to update some content. We can always go back and do that. So you can access these saved templates that you've got really easily. So that's the generations piece. This is, that initial step. Let's create some resources. Let's put them out into the world. Let's start sending people to these resources. And this creates a good lead pipeline, bringing people into our business.